let's see here. I ordered, this is like a healthier grocery haul because, like I said, I'm trying to find some balance.
Hello, 'tis I, Fat Cow. I'm going to just randomly interject myself during these videos that Foodie uploaded yesterday. One was a grocery haul and then a cooking thing, and the other one was a live. I know I said I wasn't going to comment if she ate unless she said anything during, but watching the food haul and then what was eaten after and then what was eaten during the live, I thought enough's enough. This woman is probably deliberately ignoring the facts and the information as to what she should eat. Weaponised incompetence, plausible deniability, but while doing this there may be some people watching who thinks, oh, she's trying to get healthy, this is how it should be when you have untreatable diabetes and are super morbidly obese. Now Foodie is only concentrating on focusing on allegedly performatively weight loss and not addressing the thing that will kill her sooner, which is her untreated diabetes. So I'm just going to throw facts at the screen and hope it sticks with somebody. I don't expect it to be Foodie. I'm not talking to Foodie. I'm talking to some other people who are under the misguided belief that Foodie is a good source of information. I also will be interjecting with other random things that have popped into my head during the last 24 hours regarding lots of stuff. So this video has no beginning, middle, end format structure. It is random. Before I proceed though, of course, Pebbles, you're a beautiful girl, aren't you? You're a beautiful girl. Yeah. Alright, let's get on with it then, shall we?
Yes, I do, like healthy food as well. First thing, shrimp went on sale for some large shrimp.
Shrimp's actually not bad at all for diabetes and weight loss, but portion size is about £half a pound, which equates to between 8 and 12 shrimp depending on their size. Not a whole bag.
I got some peanut butter and co. Peanut butter and co is like really good peanut butter. I got the crunchy. I couldn't find the chocolate one.
95 calories a tablespoon. Okay in moderation for diabetes. Not so great for weight loss. Avoid low fat or low sugar varieties because usually those ingredients are replaced with other ingredients like sweeteners, etc., that will affect the nutrition and the effect on the body. Oddly enough, chocolate peanut butter has slightly less calories at 90 per tablespoon, but the increase in sugars obviously is very detrimental if you have diabetes.
And what I want to try is putting some peanut butter in the middle of a date. I hear that that's really delicious.
A single date has 23 calories and is actually considered okay for diabetics, although they do suggest only 3 a day. Now, in combination with the peanut butter, which I'm guessing very generously, I might suggest, being a tablespoon, although I suspect it's more, that little combination, that little mouthful she's about to have, is about 115 calories. So if she's stuck with a recommended serving of 3 dates a day with the peanut butter, we're looking at 345 calories, which is significantly more than a Snickers bar. Not that I'm suggesting a Snickers bar, I'm just pointing out that just because it's natural doesn't make it significantly better.
We have 1 kg of bananas.
Bananas are not recommended for diabetics, and they're actually quite high calories considering if you're losing weight. Fruits that are recommended are as follows: avocados, but only, half a cup, limes, dates, prunes, coconut, lemon, berries, plums, oranges, cantaloupe, apples, strawberries, nectarines and peaches. Not bananas. No. Sorry.
Potato yam.
I think it's a rutabaga, but don't quote me on it.
What? I thought I was getting sweet potatoes. What the heck is this vegetable? I don't know how I'm supposed to eat this, at all.
And for future reference, when cooked, they should look like this, not the anemic kind of zombified, corpse-coloured, cubey things she eats later.
Okay, now apparently if you put you have to put chocolate, but I don't have any. It's supposed to taste like a chocolate bar, like a healthier chocolate bar.
Again, that's debatable. By itself, without chocolate, we're looking at minimum 115 calories. With chocolate, who knows? And she's not going to eat just one.
Then she wonders why she cannot lose any weight.
Because dates have sugar, but they're they're one of the healthiest foods on the planet. They're in the Quran.
I mean, to say they're one of the healthiest foods on the planet is a bit of a stretch. They are mentioned in the Quran. They are highly recommended as a food to break your fast with, and they're purported to have medicinal purposes. Honey is also mentioned in the Quran, but we are talking about thousands of years ago, when things were less available and a lot of food wasn't invented yet. So that's something to keep in mind.
These fancy little dates. Let's try. I'm going to make them for Salah as well. They have a lot of fiber and they're just a good food.
Just bear in mind, recommended daily portion of dates is 3.
So I'm going to cut it, take the pit out. Peanut butter. Alright, bismillah. That is good, but it doesn't taste like chocolate bar.
It doesn't create the happy chemicals because it doesn't have the fat, it doesn't have the caffeine, it doesn't have all the stuff that Foodie gets a high from. In fact, chocolate contains certain chemicals that are very similar to the chemicals that we feel when we see someone we love. Now, I'm going to butcher these pronunciations, so please forgive me. The chemicals in chocolate that make you happy include theobromine, which is similar to caffeine, serotonin, we all know that one, tryptophan, an amino acid that makes serotonin, double serotonin, ooh, and the other one that triggers the release of endorphins, our feel-good hormones, our feel-good hormones. So while she will consider it a substitute of sorts, it's never going to scratch that itch.
My sauce should be done.
Is it me, or is my computer not calibrated correctly with the colours? But isn't that the most peculiar colour sauce you've ever seen? And you can see the fat, the separation, the emulsification, because, if you stir it, it might mix in for a bit. But that is so heavy in oil. Now, I know Foodie cooks with ghee instead of butter, believing it is better for her. The benefits of ghee is it has a higher cooking point, so it's less likely to burn, which, considering how much that thing is bubbling, is a good thing. However, ghee has more calories than butter and is higher in trans fat than butter. So there's that.
I just made a sauce with some thinly sliced beef, some rice.
You can barely call that rice. It's Egyptian rice. It is made by toasting the grains in ghee or butter, preferably ghee, and then add in the bird's tongue, which is the little noodly bits, and salt and a spice, and then cooking it. It's a lot higher in calories than just plain rice, and rice is barely recommended for diabetics, white rice particularly. So that in itself is not something someone who is both diabetic and trying to lose weight should be eating. In fact, simple carbohydrates such as rice, pasta, bread, cakes, biscuits, whatever, and we're just talking about the carbohydrate side of these things, not the sugar side of these things, are to be avoided. And that is because a simple carbohydrate is broken down by the body into glucose. That's how it fuels the body. And glucose, in other words, sugar, is what a diabetic body cannot cope with. If you absolutely insist on eating these things, go for the brown rice, the whole grains, because at least there's fibre and things that will balance a little the amount of glucose that's produced. Simple carbohydrates such as white rice, flour, anything made with flour, potatoes are not recommended at all for a diabetic or somebody who's trying to lose weight.
And this is what the yam turned out to be like.
And this is what it should look like if it was cooked properly.
Oh, here is my dinner, the final result. I have a 7-Up Zero.
Oh yeah, artificially sweetened things such as 0-calorie sodies are not recommended for diabetics. But there again, she's not focusing on her diabetes. She's focusing on weight loss.
So basically what I'm going for today, and I'm trying to do, is more of a balance on a daily basis. So like an 80-20 kind of approach.
80% healthy, 20% junk. How are you quantifying this? Say your junk, the 20%, comes to 900 calories. Does it mean the 80% healthy is 3,600 calories? And therefore you're eating 4,500 calories a day, of which 20% is crap? Or the 20% is in terms of volume, and therefore throughout the rest of the day you're eating 4 times as much as your junk food meal? Or is the junk food meal one meal and then you have 4 others? I'm curious. How are you measuring this? Well, that was possibly interesting for some people. But I thought I'd throw it out there because without the information and the knowledge from your diabetic nutrition class, even your healthy choices are not healthy. And before you start throwing in my direction, but you're not a doctor, you're not a nutritionalist, you don't know what you're talking about. No, I am not a doctor, I am not a nutritionalist, but I was a lifestyle journalist for many a decade who wrote many published articles on diet and nutrition. So I know more than you do, Missy.
Now it's time for me to have my one crappy meal a day.
Well, I don't know. Your last meal looks like actual crap. You notice the difference in her expression from the first meal to the fast food meal. Fast food makes her happy. It makes her day. It makes her feel good. Other food fills a hole. Fast food fills the void.
And I'm so happy.
I'm trying to think of things that make me pull similar expressions to that. And the only thing that pops into my mind is when my pets are doing something stupidly adorable. Baby animals. Yeah. I don't know if that says more about me than Foodie.
So I'll get a big fat 0.
Although later, mysteriously, out of nowhere, because it wasn't out of that bag that she just unpacked, was another cheeseburger that she claims is for Salah.
I don't know why I'm starving. Dude, when I eat healthy food at home, I feel starving. I don't know why.
Because if it's not fast food or junk food, it's just filling the hole. It's not filling the void.
He's not feeling too well. I think maybe like a cold or a flu, so.
If Foodie is to be believed, I know that sentence is absolutely ridiculous. I can't believe I actually said that out loud. Anyway, if Foodie is to be believed, Salah gets a cold or the flu an awful lot, doesn't he? Conveniently enough. If he's not available because of work, he's not available because he's unwell. You're a very sickly individual, Salah, if Foodie is to be believed. You should get that checked out.
Yeah, I have a bonus burger. But only, and you can look this up on Talabat yourself, if you order, there's a combo you can order that comes with a bonus burger.
Hey, okay, challenge accepted. I looked it up. Yes. If you deliberately make the choice to pay 200 fil extra, it comes with a cheeseburger. But nobody made you pay extra for the burger. It wasn't free. It didn't come as standard. You made the choice to pay extra to get the burger. So it's not a free bonus burger. It is an extra burger added on for slightly less money than buying the burger by itself. Cue Foodie, or some of the supporters going, I can't believe she looked that up. Obsessed much? Get a life. Well, that was the food bit. And now we're going to the live bit. It's going to come with a trigger warning. I will be talking about some of my personal experiences of DV. Proceed with caution. Some of you may want to skip this bit. Alright, let's proceed.
That they just hate on the same, that's what Girl World is. Insecure, stage 5 emphysema, weirdo 50-year-old women.
How very dare you! I don't sound like a chain smoker. Yeah, weirdo 50-year-old woman. I'll give you that, but I'm offended.
Anyway, I'm just saying, like, looks don't matter to me, but I'm not here making fun of people online for, like, you know, like, if you give it to me, I give it back sometimes. Yeah, sure.
Keep telling yourself that, sweetheart. Keep telling yourself that you only go after women and attack their looks because you're defending yourself. Nobody makes you do this. Nobody makes you watch any of this crap. Grow up. Seriously.
Because I'm sorry, but I have to point out, like, are you kidding? Like, it's so hard for me not to. It's so hard when you have someone like that making fun of your looks over and over, and, like, you have to hold it in like a big crap, and you can't say anything because you don't want to be like that. It's so hard because you just want to be like, oh, look at you. You know what I mean? Oh, and then when you do say, well, look at you, ma'am, you look like a crypt keeper, they turn around, clip it, and say, what a bitch, right?
Because you go for the jugular. You attack things that are disproportional to the initial comment. You'll go after their genitals, their parenting, their morals. You'll go for any low-hanging fruit in order to make them look lesser than you, to compromise their reputation, to diminish their importance. You like to humiliate people with words. So if somebody responds in a manner that may seem disproportional to the initial outrage, there's a reason for it.
I don't know, it was this woman on panel, she had, like, she looked like an embalmed corpse and was like, let's talk about the death fats. And she had a weird voice like that. Like, ma'am, like, fat, don't worry about fat, all right? Go walk your ass to the fountain of youth and shut up. I'm just kidding.
Ah, I see. If you can't go for your default insult, which is they're over 300 pounds, therefore, we go to next level, tear down, plan B insult, they're old. Okay, cool. You're 41, almost. You are 11 years younger than I. I would potentially argue that maybe one of us appears to be slightly younger in spirit, let's say, than Tutta.
Why was I so rude about Beck? Okay, listen, that's fine if Beck wanted to go and out all the tea at the beginning. So what's the reason for her making a reaction channel about Amber now?
Well, the answer to that comes in two parts. The first part was that Beck suffered greatly mentally during that relationship and had to deal with the repercussions and consequences and the fallout of being in the relationship first before she was mentally strong enough and would have the thick enough skin and the mental fortitude to deal with any fallback, particularly from Amber, once they started dishing the dirt. Secondly, had Amber not talked about it, even right up to this day, Beck probably wouldn't have responded at all. Beck, in your words, is defending herself because Amber never shut up.
That's just pure clout chasing. That was my point, okay?
Beck is responding at an appropriate time, a time that was best for them, in an appropriate manner to what Amber was doing during the entire time since their breakup. Beck already had a channel, already had a following. Beck is not a reaction channel. They react to things that concern them and involve them only, and if Amber shut up, there'd be nothing for Beck to respond to in order to defend, your words, themselves. They're not doing it for clout, for power or influence. They're doing it because they're ready. They're doing it because they have every right to tell their side of the story, whether it is current or not.
I don't hate her. I don't wish her ill will, but that's my opinion. I don't have to, you know.
But you are envious and you are bitter. And possibly there's a part of you that has some extra dirt in your history that you felt was safe because enough time has passed that the person or people involved wouldn't, you know, if they would have said something by now if they were going to, and Beck has just shown no, there's no statute of limitations of dishing the dirt or telling the truth about someone, is there?
Yeah, they shouldn't bring each other up at all, really. I mean, you know, I don't talk about what's his face in years, really. Maybe once in a while.
Oh, I see your thought process. You haven't started the conversation about what's his face. You're merely responding to either him, you're reacting to actually him, or you're replying to comments or questions from your viewers. But you never started the conversation, and therefore it means you've never spoken about him. You spoke about him almost daily in Thailand, but I guess because you were being poked by your supporters. Yeah, your supporters, the people who are meant to care about you and be worried about your mental health, the people that bring up subjects that you don't actually want to talk about, those people. Because those people brought out comments and questions or would point out that he was talking about you, then you spoke about him. Well, Amber spoke about Beck. Beck is responding in the same way.
And if it was so horrible, why do you want to keep remembering everything over and over and over?
She's not remembering it over. She is defending her reputation by telling her side of the story. You really do lack any awareness whatsoever. You have zero emotional intelligence.
But to compare, like, actual, like, being beaten to having to wipe someone's ass is just ridiculous.
They didn't. They told part of their story. Maybe things of that nature will come up later. They've just told a bit of the story. There was no comparison. And, well, quite frankly, domestic stuff comes in many shapes and forms, all of which can be devastating depending on the situation and the person. I was never struck by my ex. I was pinned against the wall by my throat. I was thrown down on chairs. I was pushed and shoved. I had the back of my head, as I said, whacked against a wall. I was never hit. But that happened to me. However, speaking on behalf of myself, the physical aspects were psychologically easier to deal with than the emotional and psychological mistreatment. The walking on eggshells, the watching what you say, the lack of control, the lack of power, living in a continuous, constant state of anxiety, being on high alert continuously. The human body is not designed to cope with that, and as a consequence, my complete and utter nervous system is shot to pieces, and I now have to spend every day for the rest of my life in constant pain and fatigue. That was not because I was pushed about. That is because of the psychological and emotional mistreatment that I went through. None of us have no right to decide whether our mistreatment was worse than others. It's all circumstantial. Mistreatment I can tolerate, or I did tolerate, could easily have decimated somebody else based on their fortitude, their life experiences, everything. Stuff that happened to me that has led to me being disabled, another person could have dealt with better and not ended up with a chronic lifetime illness. You have no right to claim superiority in mistreatment, and it's a really weird bragging tool to have. Your victim mentality is on show. It is emblazoned across your chest like a slogan t-shirt. It is branded on your forehead clearer than this tattoo. My mistreatment didn't make me a stronger person compared to somebody else, didn't make me a better person compared to somebody else, but it didn't make me weaker and more pathetic either. My mistreatment happened. It is what it is. It is a part of my life. It's something that happened to me and has no effect on anybody else at all. I'm neither proud nor ashamed. It's something that happened to me. And I will not and do not compare my experiences to other people. The only person I can speak for is myself.
For sure. A he said, she said situation, right? In a way, like, you know, like, I'm not demeaning her experience. I don't know like, we don't know, like, really what went on behind closed doors. And you can't say that about a Nosferatu, because you did see what goes on behind closed doors with that video. Very similar situation.
All that video showed was that Nader has a history of being violent towards women, particularly especially in this case, Dee Dee. Just because it shows he has the inclination and history to do it, it doesn't prove he did it to you. It wouldn't hold up as evidence in a court of law. No, this video does not prove Nader mistreated you physically at all.
Pattern of behavior. But yeah, like, no, it's, I don't know, stupid. I hate when people do that, like when they've been in a relationship and they out, like, so if I was like that and just outed people's business for clout and for no reason, then why did I not do that with BB? Why didn't I do that with Milan? Because he didn't give me a reason to. He wasn't an abusive person.
You've literally just answered your own question. You didn't do it with Milan because there was nothing to say. You did it with Nader because there's something to say. And you're going to do it with Salah when this relationship ends too.
He wasn't a piece of crap. Never happened. You know what I mean? So there's a big difference.
Yeah, there is a big difference. Milan was not a piece of shit, therefore there's nothing to talk about. Amber will be a piece of shit, therefore there's stuff to talk about. Every relationship that she's been in, that people she was in relationships with have commented on, have said she's a piece of shit. Yet again, I can't be bothered to make it to the end of the video. The lack of emotional intelligence has rendered me speechless. Absolutely speechless. It's phenomenal how some people's brains work. Anyway, on a different subject, but not quite, because it is about Amberlynn and Bex. I was watching Karina Kaboom, and Karina questioned why only Beck as a carer for Amber. Why only Beck toileted Amber? Why did only Beck be subjected to these things? Well, here's the thing with Amber. Amber is, or likes to think they are, a highly sexualized individual. And with Destiny, and with Wifey, and with Tommy, she wanted to maintain or keep up the desirability within the relationship. Now we know that her and Beck were only very briefly intimate, and therefore there was no need to try and maintain this air of desirability with Beck. Now, it is very hard to be sexy or to appear sexy when your significant other has to wipe your butt or clean the dirt off your body or has to bathe you. And because Beck was not intimately interested in Amber, Amber had no need to try and maintain this facade. And that is one of the reasons why nobody else has been subjected to this purgatory. Also, the fact that Amber very quickly managed to look after themselves upon the appearance of Wifey meant that Amber was allowing themselves to be babied and waited on by Beck. Now, Amber probably uses intimacy as a bargaining tool, a reason to keep the person interested. Well, because that wasn't an option with Beck, being completely 100% on them to the point they'd feel bad if they left was another bargaining, emotional blackmailing tool. Had I been in Beck's position and wanting to leave Amber, I would have stuck around for longer, not because I was worried about Amber fending for herself, but because I was worried for the animals. I would have stuck around longer for the animals. That's what Beck did. The relationship, the arrangement, the whatever you will call it, lasted as long as it did because of the animals. And that is quite noble.